Welcome to today's collective reading. Let me just jump right in. We're going to pull a Moonology deck, Moonology card first. Oh, that one. Actually, I had two just come right out. So we have the last quarter moon in Aries. Try to get that so it's a little easier to see. Beautiful. And then the new moon in Leo. Yeah, we have two of those for today. Been very stubborn, very focused. Something's almost to completion in what you've been working towards. A lot of shadow work. Been really working hard on that healing, and you're being invited by yourself, by your higher self, by your guardians, your guides, to really allow yourself to share that part of yourself, to celebrate it. With Leo, it also tells me that there could definitely be shadow work present, as sometimes a lion or Leo can be represented or a symbol of the subconscious, the ego. Really some healing of this part of yourself. Understanding that it's not your enemy, it can be your ally. And then like this part of you not feeling like you identify it as something that needs to be conquered or vanquished. Which brings all of that power to the forefront. The collective that's tuning into this, very likely, you're stubborn, you're driven, you know what you want. You understand yourself quite a bit, and that you stand apart. You're a little different than some of the people around you, and it's something to be celebrated. You don't necessarily need the world's validation. You can dance to the rhythm of your own beat and not need to have the validation. And I say that with a sigh because you may not need the validation, but that doesn't mean that it's not appreciated or that it doesn't feel good to know that the beat of your rhythm is something that's worthy of enjoying and dancing along with you too. Human beings, we are social creatures. Right. So, if we could get some tarot cards here that just kind of go to a little more of the theme of what the message is coming through. What's going on more in the physical for the collective coming in? How is this message pertaining to their 3D reality? Possibly even their physical form. Oh, okay. Right, we have the Seven of Pentacles here. So, with the Seven of Pentacles, this card came through in the last reading for the collective as well. Just want to make sure that we can get a decent view of it. I am working a little bit with the lighting. The camera that I have seems to work better with yellow light, which makes sense. A lot of people that are like really human beings, we respond better to yellow light versus blue light or LED. It's more natural. And with the LED light, there's these bands that run across the camera. So the yellow light doesn't have that, which means it should be better for viewing for those that are sensitive to light. And you do have this light coming through over the earth here. In the physical, it's almost like the world is being gifted to you, and you're a bit in awe of it. There's so much change. There's a whole new world before you, and yet it's still a mystery to you. Hmm. I'm going to be pulling from a fresh deck. This one I do have some inverted cards in there because I can read them inverted or upright, but this particular deck I prefer to really have it upright just because the imagery is so beautiful and expressive. This particular deck that I'm going to be using now for the clarifiers for what's going on with you guys in the 3D, the physical aspect. It's the Witches Tarot. All right. At least 2 or 3 clarifiers here, possibly more depending. What does the collective need to know here? Specific synchronicities for the collective tuning in. Okay, so we have a Queen of Cups inverted. Ooh. And also the Eight of Swords inverted. So you've gone from a state of not having enough energy, enough contribution of emotion, affection, love, reciprocated awareness. Oh man, they're having me search for a word here, a phrase. The opening of the awareness of how not only you have been held back by the perceptions present within the ego or the subconscious, but how you are aware of this being present in the world around you as well. And this awareness had kind of had you in a state or an awareness of lack, a lack of connection, of emotional, intuitive, like you felt so alone. And this is something that you have manifested the exact opposite of this experience. Being that they're the inverted, this is implying that this new beginning that you're experiencing, this new world that you are by doing the work within and changing how you feel, how you perceive, how you understand and interpret what goes on around you, you are creating that awareness in the world around you as well. It's pretty much the law of attraction, of manifestation. You change and create and galvanize and heal yourself, and those very same new opportunities that are like to the change that you're creating within self come to you. So you've manifested this to be reciprocated to you in the world around you, mirrored back to you. And being that it's the world, that means it's the whole experience. It's not just one aspect, one piece, one particular area. It's multiple, it's across the board. This is like, this is Christmas from Divine for you. Spiritual Christmas. All right. Hmm. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. There Anything else that we would like to have come through that's an emphasis? This particular deck that I'll be pulling from here is the Light Seer deck. Any other specific synchronicities? Beautiful. So we now have the Nine of Cups, like an explosion of emotional abundance and the freedom from this oppressive state. It can also be, if you read this Nine of Swords upright, this is a healing of this, your ability to rest in your connection with your root chakra, with earth, with Gaia, and to allow yourself to really ground into that security. Your dream state could definitely be a pretty important space for influence to your intuition. Uh, Whether you remember your dreams or not, there could be a lot of work that you've been doing in your dream space. And since it's in the inverted, you've made yourself safe. You've demanded that you be safe. And thus, there's this explosion of emotional, intuitive abundance because you've pretty much claimed what's yours. Your right to be safe, your right to know that you have say, that you have control, you have the ability to say yes or no to something. Now, I am still kind of working with this field of view with this particular situation here. So if something is not quite on camera completely, I'm going to make it a point to pull it up to the camera for you guys so you can see the imagery, because there may be a symbol within the cards imagery for you that's unique to you. And I want you to be able to have that, because symbols have an incredibly potent impact on the subconscious mind. And that's how a lot of the messages and synchronicities will come through, whether you're aware of it now or later, that your guardians, your guides, your ancestors will use to aid you, to support you, to help you know that you're not alone. All right. Now we're going to move into, it's more of the emotional, the intuitive guidance, what's being highlighted here for the spiritual Christmas, for the collective tuning in. Right. The Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups, there's it's very broody kind of lonely longing here. There's rose petals and this very like Renaissance vibe to it. Similar to like lighting a candle and meditating on something, this manifestation, what you long for to experience in your reality. This is a confirmation that the divine has heard you, that the forces that be, the guardians, the guides, your ancestors, they've heard you, what your heart has been longing for. Clarifying that, we have the Seven of Swords in the upright. Is there anything else? Oh, boop, 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 boop. Okay. So this is the awareness while you've been meditating, while you've been focusing, while you've been being mindful, even if you haven't set aside time specifically to focus in the way that this individual, this appears to be a gentleman, um, is currently doing, you're aware of what you do not want to bring with you, what you're leaving behind, and what you're deciding to bring with you, what that can aid you. Swords, knowledge, not always is it going to be a deception. Because this card, yes, it is a Seven of Swords, but it's implying that it's becoming a Five of Swords. And then there's even more discernment because it could become a Four of Swords because there's even one more that is being contemplated here. So it could also be, for some of the collective, definitely you're taking that Seven of Swords and you're making it a Five. And a Five of Swords is unnecessary drama that, you're used to it, you're comfortable with it, you understand it, you allow it to perpetuate itself, because why rock the boat? Why add another sword and go into a Six of Swords and go to something a little calmer? With the raising of one sword here in his hand, it tells me that you've mastered the healing. You're aware that you're in this kind of learning, healing, or karmic lesson within the dynamic that you're currently kind of observing, which could definitely be with the holidays, just, family dynamics. I mean, there's going to be some people in your family, they teach you so much about yourself. They have so much to teach you about who you are. So there's an appreciation for these lessons. Are you ready to move it into a Six of Swords? Are you ready for that? Now, I know in the background back here, there's two swords, which is crossroads. There's a decision. The decision is behind this individual. So you already know what you want to do. You already know what you want that Six of Swords, or that calmer water, the experience without these lessons that you have observed, these challenges that you've observed, these family dynamics that don't really feed you, nourish you, empower you. Just as an example, because yet again, I'm going to reference that this is the whole package. This spiritual Christmas gift is the entire world. It's not just the family dynamic, although the family dynamic of origin is a pretty big space through which to heal and set in your firm foundation of who you are and what you stand for, what you feel is right, what you feel is wrong, what you will or will not give to. What are your boundaries? Because that family dynamic of origin teaches you a lot about those aspects of yourself. So, you already know what your Six of Swords, your calmer waters look like. You already know what you want it to be. It's the indication of, is now the time. Now, with the Nine of Wands, that is definitely not an impenetrable fence or barrier between you and getting beyond this individual and those. Really, there's one wand, and then there's 8 behind them. So you could definitely get through that. If you get beyond this person, it's easy to get through this wall of sticks or wall of wands. It's not, it's not fortified, right? It doesn't appear to be, because it's permeable. You can see that sun. You can see the bright new beginning, the happiness, which the symbolism of the sun is that new beginning, is this little spark of light that's coming off of that new world, that divine light, that happiness, that love. This is just one more indication of you giving yourself permission to enjoy that sun, to enjoy that emotional bounty of that beautiful water in the background as well, of having the more positive thoughts and allowing it to be grounded. You have all the elements behind this individual. So are you ready to move into the Six of Swords, your bright new beginning, your calmer waters? And then are you sure that you are ready to perceive the depth of those calm waters, the authentic, rich experience that is a challenge of a completely different nature? Versus, struggle and strife, this could be, how do you allow yourself to be happy? Do you let yourself play? Do you let your inner child out to bounce around and have a little bit of fun, even though you are definitely a full-grown adult and you know how to be firmly in that professional aspect? That might be the challenge of here, of how do you master happiness and joy and peace in spite of all the chaos that you have healed through, that you're aware of, that you know of self. Just beautiful. And yeah, I'm not getting that we need any more cards on that. So let's move into the next one. This will be more of the thought, the 5D, the intuitive aspect, the higher self side of things, the spiritual relationship that you have within you to the divine, however you relate to source. Each individual is unique. That's their relationship. Your relationship is unique and beautiful and valued. Everyone is worthy of having the affirmation that that unique relationship, their interpretation, their closeness with divine is something that is necessary, needed to make the full picture of this entire wheel. This is definitely poignant for this placement here for you guys, because you look at the Wheel of Fortune like a clock, and every hour is 100 years. And say there's many different lives that you keep trying to learn the same lesson in. And you get a little bit better at this and a little bit better at that, but until you get to that last hour, you're not really quite to the mastering, the fine tuning. With the Wheel of Fortune, especially in this card, which I really want to show you this particular aspect here with the door and the individual. This implies that this is like a safe, and you've calibrated it and you've unlocked it. You've spent that time, listening to the subtleties and to hear the click, to know when to spin the other direction, to know when things click into place, and you can then move to the next challenge to master that. You have unlocked this. The wheel has turned and you're walking through that. It's unlocked. The treasure's inside. And really, what you're walking through to find and discover is yourself. You're learning a whole new set of lessons when you walk through that door. Just as implied with the previous placement here, this is instead of learning how to be at peace in the chaos, now you get to refine being at peace. How does that feel? How does it move? How does it feel? What is that all about for you, right? So, we get some clarifiers here if any are needed, if any are coming through. Oh, wow, that really came right out. Okay, so we have the Five of Swords inverted. That tells me that you've already decided to give your the giving of emotion heart chakra with this green dragonfly here. You've decided to allow the divine to open your heart and thus your intuition, your clairs, if you will, with the support of your guardians, your guides, your ancestors, to assist you in being able to be as aware as you desire to be going through this threshold of yourself, help you integrate and heal. So you are moving into that Six of Swords, calmer waters. But make no mistake, those waters, they run very deep. And you're really, oh, excuse me, you've unlocked more of yourself. Even if this is definitely going to be something that creates a whole new experience of reality of this world, because you have changed, you have healed, the world around you changes and heals with you. All about perception, manifestation, and attraction. And a bunch just spin right out on me there. It's too many. Is there any more clarifiers? Maybe there'd be one more. And then we have the Nine of Cups inverted. Ooh. All right, I'm going to grab the other deck here to clarify that one for you, just because I know I would personally desire to have that myself. But I will tell you that what I'm getting from this is that you're making this decision because you're no longer content with the concept of dreaming about the Nine of Cups, of this world of waiting. If you sit and wait, you manifest more waiting. Exactly. So you've been kind of stuck in this process of healing, of doing the inner work, the shadow work. You've been working with those parts of you that you don't quite understand until you look, and because they're pretty unpleasant sometimes to actually look and see, you kind of avoid it. And that's understandable and actually pretty normal for a lot of people today. We have a lot of things that weigh on us, on our minds, on our emotions. We have responsibilities. Sometimes you just need to get through it. So you've been taking the time to understand these parts of yourself while you can, when you can, and as fast as you can, safely and comfortably for yourself, to give attention, light to these aspects of yourself to help them be understood. Because you want the Ten of Cups. You don't want to be waiting and manifesting more waiting. You want to be living and being surprised by this gift, by this new challenge. I don't know about you guys, but falling in love with yourself. Again, getting to know parts of you that have been in the shadow. Like, how do you embrace being happy, feeling loved by yourself when you've been surviving, getting through, doing what you need to do to get from day to day, how do you then master not having to survive, but getting to thrive? How do you do that? That's a totally different dance that you're going to be doing with yourself. Unless the lover's upright. This can definitely be a choice, a decision specific to a romantic, because it is the whole world. And love is the constant. It's the one thing that is true. So this can be definitely a romantic thing for some individuals in the collective, but you've you've got you're your first love. You yourself, you are your first love. Then and only then, like when you fully embrace that, are you able to gift yourself and all of that abundance of self-love and self-knowledge to the world around you? This is honestly a confirmation of that mastery of self-love. You are basically being gifted more of you. This new turning, this new challenge, you're being gifted this by divine. And divine is within you. The divine is the connection to higher self, to future self, to past self, the awareness of yourself throughout all of this, the spark of consciousness. That part of you that is aware of existence, of being, is telling you you've mastered this. You get to learn a new lesson now. You've worked really hard for it. You get to shine. And your subconscious, your ego, your shadow work, all of that, the whole world, all of you is being gifted to you. And that means all of that is going to be manifested in the world around you because it'll be attracted to you because you have done this work. So you're going to attract others, situations, dynamics that have done this work too. So, yeah. I do want to say that this backdrop for today really mirrors this in quite a beautiful way, because this particular backdrop, it reminded me of that movie of the man who was a snowman and he turned into a human being. Like the thawing of what was ice cold, the opening of that heart, the falling in love with life again, turning from the snowman into the father, the husband. In that, I don't know the name of the movie, but I do remember some of the plot to it. Either way, that is something here. The falling in love with self is calling in more energy to be like people, situations, dynamics, the whole world. All of what is present within your world that you are moving towards right now is in love with itself too. So you have nothing but to share and give and celebrate and learn how to be able to have that challenge of how do I embrace being happy instead of struggling? How do I enjoy thriving instead of striving? To summarize, do kind of the overall in closing, do a couple of cards here. 3 cards and a crossing card, please, for the collective. In closing, how you would prefer to provide any synchronicities, messages. So we have death, which that could also mean a new beginning. What you are leaving behind, you have the moon there in there as well, so that's definitely speaking to shadow work. And it's kind of validating this 7 of Swords as well, what you have decided to leave behind. Doesn't mean that it's dead. It just means that you're not bringing it with you into your new experience. It can still exist in another timeline, just not necessarily going to be in the one you're experiencing. And then we have faith and space. Faith. Now, death and space, they're crossing one another. And I find that really interesting that they're both very dark colored here. So the shadow word, death, space, they're crossing with faith here. I know that faith, each one of these nodules, and it could be many more than just this particular amount that you're seeing here in this visual, but this to me says that this has been co-created. You have never been alone, even if you've felt alone. Parts of you have been very aware that you've not been alone. You have guardians, guides, ancestors, maybe even particular family members that you knew in life that have passed, that have been there with you on this journey. And they've wanted this because when you're happier, when you're healthier, when you've done this work, you've made it so that it's been done for them too. So they've been helping you. It's been a team effort to assist you in being able to live this life. Can I have a crossing card for faith, please? Beautiful. Mm. So, with death and space, you have created space. In manifestation, that's one of the requirements. You got to create a void for the universe to fill. Because the universe wants nothing more than balance. And if you're aiding and creating balance, so you've done the shadow work. You've created this void within your energy for positive things to come in, to create that balance, because you have moved some of this stuff that needed to be alchemized, healed, that was negative in the aspect that it was challenging you to overcome something within self. The faith is that these things that you've overcome were possibly gifts in disguise because they challenged you to learn you, to understand you. And through understanding and learning you, you've fallen in love with yourself. And through this falling in love with self, you have gained a locking in of the protection that comes with that love. Love is the only thing that is true. You will find it anywhere in this universe, in any culture, in any species, animal, dynamic. You will be able to spot when, an animal is suffering and another animal in, say, the pack or the herd is experiencing empathy and suffering on behalf of this member of the pack or herd, just as an example. So it's going to be something that is universal, really. And when you fall in love with self, that will begin to be something that others around you will desire. So it's the locking in of that, creating that void, filling it with love and light, which the divine will do when you've done this work, locking that in and protecting that, because this has been co-created. Your faith, even in moments where you were sure that, oh man, they were tough, right? Shadow work is not, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not. And you having faith, you find it, or you will become more aware of it in those moments, because you know you're not going through it alone. You know you're being helped. You know you're being protected, because what you're co-creating is balance, and the universe longs for nothing more than balance. Source, divine, iris, like however you uniquely prefer to relate in your own relationship. Please feel free to interject, invert. Same with gender. If it doesn't resonate, please feel free to switch as needed. And if it's something that doesn't quite speak to you completely throughout the whole reading, something somewhere in here may speak directly to you. Now, that being said, there can be aspects within this reading that, while they synchronize with you, other aspects maybe don't specifically synchronize with you, but they do give you a window of insight into what could be going on around you that's either just under the surface or right there on the surface for you to see. It's another way of seeing synchronization, validation in the world around you that there is more than what you can see to this reality. And that is validated with quantum physics and spooky action at a distance and string theory and just so many things that are a mystery, yet are experienced nonetheless. And that will be this Christmas Eve's reading for the collective today. Enjoy your spiritual divine gift of love of self and enjoy experiencing that being manifested in like to you in your new world that you've manifested. It's being gifted to you. The divine within me honors the divine within you. Namaste.